Welcome to Life on the Moose. Let's keep building this house today. Yes, I see I'm gonna have to mow the living room pretty soon. Gotta get this covered so the grass stops growing. So I'm obviously standing inside the foundation walls right now. You'll notice that that pad right there is a lot larger than the other ones. That's because on top of this pad is gonna be an 8x8 post that's gonna stick up through the subfloor all the way up 9 feet inside the house and support a beam that's gonna be way up there. In this episode, I'm gonna mill that 8x8 post out of Doug fir that I cut down last year off of our property. Aside from that 8x8 post, there will be a few more structural members that I'll need that I'm gonna mill today. So let's head into my office and find out exactly what they are. So that big pad I just showed you is right there. That's what's gonna require that 8x8 post. 8x8, and that's gonna have to be at least 13 feet long. And when I say 8x8, this is nominal, so it's actually gonna be 7.25. I'll mill this at about 7 5/8 because I do expect there to be just a little bit of shrinkage before I get this into the house. So in the very front of the house, the front door right here is going to be a shed roof. And that shed roof is gonna be comprised of an 8x8 beam stretching across 2 posts, and those posts will also be 8x8s. There will be 4 girders in this case, 4 rafters, if you will, holding up the car decking on top. These rafters will be 4x8. So that front entryway will need that beam going across at 10 feet. The posts will be approximately 6 feet each, and then my 4x8, I think they're gonna have to be about 8 feet long. I'll double check on that. And I'll need 4 of them. That's for the front. Back cover. That one, I'll need an 8x8 beam, 8x8 post. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those 4x8s for the back. So that's what I need for the big timbers. And then when I'm all said and done with that, I am going to cut what I will call millwork, wood trim for the interior. Door, window trim, that sort of a thing. Baseboard. Okay, I'm gonna take this board with me. I'm gonna need this for notes. Also, I'm gonna have to write down what the setting will be on the mill in order to achieve these. I wanna make sure that setting is the same every time I cut. I don't have my scale with me, my drafting ruler. I don't have that on me, so I'm gonna go measure these lengths in actuality just to make sure I don't short myself. And then I'll meet you back at the mill. Okay, the forks are on. I said this before, but those forks that I just put on that loader bucket are very handy. Not just for logs, but for pallets and other things like that. I really use them a lot. So I have my buddy's mill right here. Caleb, you met him, I think, in the past. I set this up last night. It's ready to go. So the plan of attack is to load it from the other side, and then I'm gonna put the lumber directly into the woodshed. I'm gonna put my big beam material over on this side, and then my 1x material for trim I'll put over here. So I took those actual measurements on the house right now, and I think I'll have all of the material, all of the logs I need except for one, and that is the big beam that goes across the back entry cover. That thing measures out about 16.5 feet. I don't think I have anything that long, at least not that long and that big. So I might have to laminate something together for that, but we'll make it work. A pile of good logs are over there. That's what I'm gonna mill up into the material I need. This pile right here is from the tree that fell in the shed earlier this winter. So I'm gonna take this log right here on top and cut it down about 2 more feet to about 4.5 feet. I'm gonna use that for stickers. Anyone who's ever milled anything knows that you need stickers in order to stack and dry. Stickers are the little 1x2 little pieces of wood that goes on top of every layer of lumber you have. That way it allows airflow to get in there and dry everything out relatively evenly. my sticker log is ready to go. I'll probably make a pass about right here or so. Try to square this thing off. I'll rotate it, put the square end against the stops, and then keep doing that until I have a square log. So I'm going to cut them about a 1x2. As long as they're all exactly the same, last thing you want to do is create an uneven surface for that drying wood to rest on, or it'll dry crooked. Go figure. So I'm all clamped down. I'm gassed up. I have my lubricant up here, which is basically water and Dawn dishwashing soap. That spits out right down here on the blade as it's moving. What I'll probably do is take a little bit of gas or diesel, I think, and spray this blade, brush it off first before I do anything, because there's just a little bit of rust marks down in there, as you can probably see. I want to make sure that's nice and shiny and smooth before I get going. Okay, any questions? Let's get milling. So this handle right here raises and lowers the head, which of course is the blade. I found that if I lower this 5 rounds, it lowers the blade about 1.5 inches. So that's all I need. As long as it's consistent, that's the main thing. So right now I'm just going to cut layers of that 1.5 inches or whatever it is exactly. And I'm going to set those layers aside, and then I'll flip them up, and then we'll cut them off into strips. Well, it's a good thing these are just stickers because I need to change that blade. Do you see how there's a little bit of a dip right here? Well, there's a knot right there. And when the blade gets dull, I found that it tends to ride either above or below those knots. When they're sharp, they go right through them. So I'm glad I'm not cutting good lumber with this. So these are 4.5 feet long. And in my space in there, I want 2.5 feet and I want 2 feet for my stacks. So I'm gonna cut these up. It doesn't have to be exact. Okay, I'm gonna put a new blade on here. So I'll see you tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. We are back at it today. What a nice day out. Holy cow. Only 9 o'clock and I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt. Okay, so here's what we have going on. This is probably the one that I'm going to use for that center post, that 8x8, which, by the way, I took this piece of cardboard and I cut it exactly at 7 5/8 by 7 5/8. Again, to allow for a little bit of shrinkage. So here's what we have. You can see it's not quite covering the whole thing. That would leave a little bit of wane, I guess is what you call that, when the square isn't quite fulfilled. But the good news, this is 2 feet longer than it has to be. So I think that'll be just fine. By the time I get back here, it'll be a little bit wider. This is the small end of the log right here. And this is a Doug fir. Our intention is to have this main post in the inside of the house Doug fir and everything outside ponderosa pine. That's our goal. Hopefully we'll have enough lumber to accommodate everything. This is the biggest piece of pine we have right here. This might work for that back beam. That has to be 16.5 feet long. This is exactly 16.5 feet long. This would work as far as that goes, but there's a little bit of a check right here. I think how I have to approach this is don't cut anything off. Cut them as long as I possibly can, and then hopefully they'll work. If not, I may have to buy 1 or 2 of these logs. I hope not. So let's see if we can make some beams this morning. And then after that, I want to take care of a project on the house itself, which has to be done sooner than later. And I almost forgot about it, but we'll get into that. Houston, we have a problem. Well, it's not that big of a problem. Here's the issue. Right now, this log, this beam post, is about 1.5 feet longer than it has to be. But check out this end right here. Yeah, you see that bark? That's as big as we can make this thing. This is barely over 7.5 inches square right now. So this is right where we need it to be. Looks great over on this half, roughly. But as you get toward this end, which was the small end, and I think once you take the bark off, it would look just fine. So what do you think? Would you keep this? Would you put this in your house as a main beam to be seen by all? Or would you say, nah, go buy something new? So what would you do? And what do you think Karen's gonna say? So I just went out and I remeasured the beam I will need for the covered porch on the west side of the house. And that is the big porch, the big lean-to shed roof. And I need 16.5 feet, just about however I need to slice it. This one right here, as I mentioned earlier, is exactly 16.5 feet, but it has that little crook in it, as you see. So that's gonna take a lot of that diameter off once I straighten it up. And as I mentioned earlier, this sawmill is only equipped to cut about 16 feet 2 inches. So I guess I'm just gonna run the blade as far as I can and finish it off with a chainsaw at the end. See what I get. Isn't this fun? All sorts of challenges. I could just go to the store and buy this stuff like normal people, but I don't know, normal has never been a strong point of mine. Okay, well, let's get back to work and take this post and move it inside the woodshed. So if you want to grab that end, I'll grab the heavy end and we can... I'll do it. I don't know how, but I'll do it. Okay, I got that long one loaded. I'm not very hopeful. It's a little more crooked than I thought. We'll see what happens. Okay, I have it finished up, sort of. This is about the worst of it on the corners. So no big deal. Actually, it looks really good, except for this end over here. Check it out. Right there. I mean, I think it would be absolutely fine. That is just over 7.5. It's 7 5/8 right now. I mean, it's not much different than an 8-inch round log at this point down here. So I think it'll be fine. So I guess it's up to the inspector. I don't think he's gonna care. And as it sits without the ends squared up, it is 16.5 feet exactly. If this thing ended up being 16 feet 4 inches, it would make me a lot happier. So maybe I'll be able to mess with those posts a little bit and maybe not center them exactly on the sonotubes, on the pillars. We'll see. So this is going to be even heavier than that one. So if I could get 2 of you to help me, that would be great. Goodness gracious. What have I gotten myself into? I have good news and bad news. Bad news is I don't have enough ponderosa pine on my pile to do everything I need to do outside. The good news is I have enough fir to do it. So from now on, it's going to be easy compared to that last post or that last beam. So I have a couple 12 footers. I need about 11 and a half. So perfect. This will work out great. These should be square all the way around for the length. So we should be good to go. I think we still have enough pine to do the purlins in all pine. And if you mix match pine, you know, if the posts are fir and the purlins are pine, that's okay. It'll all look fantastic because everything outside will probably get the red moose stain anyway. And that'll kind of blend everything together. We are back at it today, and it is 2 days since you saw me last. I have been spending the last 2 days milling lumber. So here's what I have. Check this out. These are the big 8x8s you saw me struggle with. Then I have 5 Doug fir 4x8s, 6 for the rear entry cover, and then I have 4 pine 4x8s for the front cover, and then I have an extra one because, actually here, I'll show you. This was the very last 4x8 that I cut yesterday. This was sandwiched against this, and my very final cut separated the two into 4x8s. And look what I found right in the middle. Yeah, there's this line of rot. I don't know how it got there. There's nothing on the outside of the log that indicated that. So I'm guessing maybe water just found its way in through a dead branch or something like that. And then I have a whole slew of 1 1/4 inch stuff, some light slabs. This is kind of my trim pile over here, my millwork. I ended up milling it at 7/8 inches. It just worked out conveniently that way, I guess. So I'm just gonna stick with that. Good looking wood. That's mostly pine that you see on top there. And that pine even started to blue a little bit. So that's gonna be gorgeous. I'm gonna have this mill for a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna spend a few days here and there milling more lumber, milling more wood for millwork, and possibly even doors. In a perfect world, I'll have enough time maybe this winter to start building doors, like interior doors. I've never done it before, but I bet I can figure it out. I'd like to work on the house itself and start working on that stem wall, start getting it ready for those sill plates. I'm waiting to hear back from the lumber yard. He sent me a bid yesterday, a quote on all the materials I need, basically through the subfloor. I had to make a couple changes. He's changing those for me as we speak. So hopefully by the end of this episode, I will have ordered materials to get it going. But like always, there's a few things I have to do to that first before I put a sill plate on there. But we'll get to that. But in order to reach that sill plate, I'd like to put a little bit more dirt around the outside of that house. You'll see when we get over there that I piled up about 5-6 loads this morning of dirt and put it around that foundation and that footing. If I can help it, I don't want to be working on a ladder around that stem wall. So I just want that built up just a little bit more. So I'm stealing dirt from over here. I know you saw me do that before. We had thoughts of possibly putting another small outbuilding over here because it seems like as soon as I build a building, it gets filled up before I'm even finished with it. And even if we don't build a building, it's always nice to have level ground to use. So let's real quickly spend about the next 2 minutes of this video, move some more dirt, do some more backfill, and then after that, we'll get going and we'll start working on that stem wall. We are back at it again today. It is cold, even colder than yesterday. Yes, a front came through yesterday about the time I was doing that backfill, and it brought with it wind. Yes, it seems like when there's a cold front, there's about 12 hours of strong wind before it gets here and about 12 hours afterwards. So now, between wind gusts, I'll try to talk to you. Speaking of talking and wind and that sort of a thing, I had a viewer offer me a microphone, a little lapel microphone with the fuzzy wind stopper. I really super appreciate that. I actually have a lapel microphone. I just haven't set it up yet. I'm trying to figure out how to build a house, so I haven't had a lot of time to work on setting up new things with my videoing. And speaking of viewers, I had a viewer, I think from Utah, offer to drive up here with his tools and help me out for a week. I can't tell you how much I really appreciate that, but I'm just not set up. I feel like I don't even know what I'm doing, not to mention managing someone else for a week. Just know that I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. But for now, the biggest help you can do is watch my videos and tell your friends. So we need to get something straight, namely these anchor bolts. You see this anchor bolt, oh, right here, for example, it's leaning in one direction. There's a couple different ways you can straighten those anchor bolts out. One is with a hammer. You just put the nut on top and hit the nut so you don't mess up your threads. The other is with a pipe. Well, I've done both methods, and the only pipe I have is about 2 feet long, so I don't know if this will work, but I'll try it. And once I'm finished straightening these things out, what I would like to do is smooth this top off. I have my grinder ready to go. I'm gonna grind the really rough areas. I should probably take my hammer claws, an old hammer that I have, and just knock off the big chunks first, and then come through and just make it as smooth as possible. I don't want any big ridges holding that sill plate off of here for any reason, so I'm gonna make sure this is nice and smooth. Okay, the grinding is finished up. The top of that stem wall is nice and smooth. I'm happy with that. You probably saw those big hold down bolts, those big 3/4 inch bolts. First of all, I couldn't get the pipe over them. You had to take my steel post driver, the T-post driver. That was heavy enough. I was able to get enough leverage on it to bend those big boys straight. I'm really happy with that grinding wheel I got. The grinding disc. Rigid is the brand. No, they're not sponsoring me. This is a diamond coated grinding wheel, and it worked very nicely. Yeah, it was pretty spendy. I want to say 50 or 60 bucks, but worth it. Man, that really took material off in a hurry as I needed it. So I'd recommend that one any day. Oh, guess what? I ordered materials. Yes, talked to the supplier last night. It's a local lumber yard, relatively local. It's not the closest town to me, but they're about 45 minutes to an hour away, and it includes free delivery. So I'm happy about that. Hopefully I'll get those materials next week, and hopefully soon enough for me to make a video and actually start on those sill plates. If not, we have something to do. Not that I want to do it. I messed up. Well, yeah, I messed up. I'll explain it in great detail. Don't worry, you'll get a chance to laugh at me all you want. But it's a learning experience for everybody. So until next week, you take care of yourself, stay out of trouble. I'll see you soon.